A private astronaut mission aiming to conduct the first commercial spacewalk is set to launch within a week aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon. The four-member crew of the Polaris Dawn Mission arrived on August 19 to finalize preparations for their launch, scheduled for the early hours of August 26 from Launch Complex 39A on a Falcon 9 rocket. This 5-day mission will take the spacecraft to altitudes of up to 1,400 kilometers, making it the highest crewed mission since Apollo 17 in 1972. The mission will also test laser inter-satellite links with SpaceX's Starlink satellites and conduct 40 scientific experiments. The mission's highlight will be the spacewalk, marking the first ever conducted on a private mission and the first from a Crew Dragon spacecraft. All four crew members will wear newly developed extravehicular activity (EVA) suits by SpaceX as the cabin is depressurized to a vacuum.
First generation SpaceX EVA suit, and I think it just looks so cool. I know we're all just feel so grateful to be able to test out this piece of technology. So what you see here is a design evolution of the new EVA suit. It is a design evolution from the IVA suit, the intravehicular activity suit, and it includes all sorts of technology, including a heads-up display, a helmet camera, an entirely new architecture for joint mobility. There's thermal insulation throughout the suit, including a copper and indium tin oxide visor that both provides thermal protection and solar protection. And then throughout, there's all sorts of redundancy, both in the oxygen supply feed to the suit, as well as all of the valves, all of the seals across the suit.
Two of the astronauts will briefly exit the hatch to perform tests during the 2-hour spacewalk. Polaris Dawn was initially expected to launch in late 2022, but the date was repeatedly pushed back. These delays were largely attributed to the development of the spacesuits, which SpaceX publicly revealed in May. In this case, curiosity didn't kill the cat. Instead, it led NASA's 1-ton Curiosity rover to uncover something unprecedented on Mars: pure sulfur. For the past 12 years, the rover has been exploring the Martian surface in search of life's building blocks, and this discovery came entirely by accident. Curiosity, roughly the size of a small SUV and equipped with 17 cameras, had already found sulfur-containing minerals on Mars. However, this recent find marks the first time pure sulfur has been detected on the red planet. And it wasn't just a one-off discovery. The rover encountered a field of rocks similar to the one it had broken. But what does the presence of pure sulfur on Mars mean? Anything, said Carl D. Horf, a professor in the University of Miami's Department of Chemistry, who has extensive experience with sulfur. It's possible it came from a meteor shower. Elemental sulfur is often found in meteoric rocks. Sulfur is vital to all living organisms, Horf explained, noting its importance for several reasons. Horf's initial reaction to the news of pure sulfur being found on Mars was that it might not be as groundbreaking as it first seemed. The most significant outcome is proving that we can operate equipment on Mars remotely, and that this led to finding a rock with S8 yellow sulfur, similar to Watts. In the Gilbert chemistry set, he said, it was already suspected. And now it's confirmed. The joy felt by scientists who control these operations is real and well-deserved. But it's more about the technical achievement than the rock itself. Horf praised NASA engineers' ingenuity, calling the ability to remotely operate a rover millions of miles away a remarkable accomplishment. The first stage of Rocket Factory Augsburg's RFA rocket was destroyed during a static fire test on August 19, dealing a significant setback to the German company just as they were nearing their first launch. RFA confirmed in a social media statement that the first stage of their RFA ONe rocket was destroyed during a test firing at Saxavord Spaceport in the Shetland Islands. Fortunately, no personnel from either RFA or the spaceport were injured in the incident. A video released by the BBC shows what appears to be an explosion, possibly involving one of the helix engines at the base of the stage, with flames soon shooting out from the side. Later, the entire stage is engulfed in flames and explodes. The company successfully performed a static fire test of the stage in May, using 4 of its 9 helix engines. Since then, all 9 engines had been installed, although the company did not specify whether all of them were ignited or intended to be ignited in this test. The incident, however, is a setback for the company, which was closing in on its first orbital launch attempt, possibly as soon as September. Until this incident, RFA was in the leading position among European startups aiming to attempt an orbital launch. Two other German companies, HY Impulse and ESA Aerospace, are also developing orbital vehicles but have not yet set launch dates, although ESA has previously indicated they were aiming for a launch later this year. Spanish startup PLD Space, which will soon begin construction of launch facilities at the European spaceport in Kourou, French Guiana, plans its first orbital launch attempt of its Miura 5 rocket there in 2025. UK-based Orbex is also planning a first launch from Sutherland Spaceport in northern Scotland sometime in 2025. The European Space Agency's Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, JUICE, has successfully completed a crucial step in its journey by performing the first-ever lunar Earth flyby. This maneuver utilized Earth's gravity to propel JUICE towards Venus, aiding its eventual mission to reach Jupiter by navigating through the inner solar system. This dual flyby was meticulously planned to adjust JUICE's trajectory using the gravitational pull of both the Moon and Earth. Despite the complexity and risks involved, the flyby was executed with precision, saving the mission an estimated 100 to 150 kilograms of fuel. In the month leading up to the flyby, the mission team made slight adjustments to ensure JUICE was on the correct trajectory. With continuous tracking from August 17th to 22nd, thanks to a successful launch on an Ariane 5 rocket in April 2023, JUICE has extra fuel reserves. The success of this lunar Earth flyby means the spacecraft can get closer to Jupiter's moon Ganymede than initially planned, allowing for more extensive scientific observations. While the primary goal was to adjust JUICE's course, the flyby also allowed the spacecraft to test its scientific instruments. All 10 instruments were activated during the Moon flyby, with 8 continuing to operate during the Earth flyby. ESA plans to release images and spectral data collected by JUICE in the coming weeks, once the data has been transmitted to Earth and analyzed. This will include high-resolution images of the Moon and Earth taken by JUICE's scientific camera, Janus. With the lunar Earth flyby complete, JUICE is now on its way to Venus, where it will conduct a flyby in August 2025. This encounter will propel the spacecraft back towards Earth, where it will perform 2 more gravity assists in September 2026 and January 2029, before finally arriving at Jupiter in July 2031.